Good morning, Quadcopter 101. And before we get started, here's my shout-outs. Today's shout-outs goes to Clack 1971 and Titus the Pipe. So Clack 1971 and Titus the Pipe were both first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus win a shout-out. So congratulations to both of you. What do I got for you today? Well, you've seen this before, the X520. Actually, you saw that one before, the basic X520. This one here is the FPV version. It has an actual 5G Wi-Fi FPV camera inside here. Let's go over it real quick. Again, it is the same, essentially, as the X520 with the addition of the FPV. Okay, this comes available both with X4 or the X8 transmitter. I highly recommend you spend the extra $9 and get the X8 transmitter. It'll give you extra range, much better control, vice the X4 transmitter. It is a brushless, two-motor airplane, RC airplane, that is capable of vertical takeoff and also 6G stabilized flight. And if you wish, you could turn off the 6G and actually get 3D mode where you can do loops, rolls, all the stunts that you want. In that mode, though, there is some stabilization against wind buffeting, but it's still very agile when you put it into that mode. Now let's go over the big difference on this particular airplane, and that is this camera. This is a camera that can be swiveled back 30 degrees, forward 30 degrees, and it transmits. It's a 720p HD camera that records video either to a micro SD card slot, which I do have a micro SD in there, or if you remove the card, it will record video to your phone, which I don't recommend because you're going to get lag in that case and frame drops. If you want to record video, put an SD card in there to get good video. It uses the XKX520 app, and you'll be seeing that here shortly. What's so cool about the XKX520 app, in addition to being able to record the video, it has telemetry of your altitude and telemetry of remaining battery power on your 950 milliamp hour battery. Let me show you the battery I got. This is from the other one that I got there. But again, it's a actually 900 milliamp hour battery, 6.66 watt hours, so 7.4 volt. So that, there's going to be a lot of those batteries available here shortly, folks. So if you're worried about spare batteries, you'll be getting these because this airplane is very popular. It comes in several versions. Okay, you've seen me fly the basic version, which is right there, which is just a basic vertical takeoff airplane, if you can call that basic. And I've had a lot of flights with this, and I've had some crashes with this, and put it back together with a little glue. It's a pretty sturdy airplane. It also comes with a version with LED lights on the bottom, I believe. Yeah, the bottom of the wing, along the edge of the wing, for night flying, if you want to do night flying. I can't really do night. Well, I guess I could do night flying out here, but I don't know if the FAA would like that since I'm putting these videos on YouTube. And additionally, it also has this FPV version, again, with the 5G camera. Now, to view this video, you are going to need a smartphone with 5G Wi-Fi capability. Not all smartphones have that capability. Keep that in mind, folks. Before purchasing this, verify that your phone is capable of 5G Wi-Fi. Okay. Again, not all phones have that capability yet. They're still coming out, but most of the newer phones are including 5G Wi-Fi, but some of the older phones, a lot of the older phones do not have it, so keep that in mind. Let's go over the transmitter. Again, I strongly recommend you get the X8 transmitter version. The X5 will give you, or the X4 transmitter, it's more of a toyish transmitter. It will give you range out to about 150 meters, but you're limiting your range. This one will give you a little more range. I've flown this close to 300 meters, I believe, with this particular transmitter. So keep that in mind. I would recommend that you get this particular transmitter. What else? Let's go over the transmitter buttons. This button, I believe, is inoperative, and this one is inoperative. The only one that really works is this switch right here. And this switch in up position like this is vertical mode. Down like this will put the airplane in horizontal flight, stabilized flight. It is very hard to crash in this mode, in that it has altitude hold that's going to try to maintain altitude at the same time with full stabilization. You know, it won't let you roll over in 6G mode. Okay, so you know, that's for beginners flying. And for intermediates and experts, when you want to go and do the stunts, you put it in 3D mode, and that turns off the altitude hold and turns off the stabilization that prevents you from rolling over. But again, it still has some stabilization to prevent buffeting from wind. You know, it helps a little for intermediate flyers. Helps a lot, actually, to tell you the truth. Okay, what other things? If you want to take off in automatic takeoff with altitude hold, you got to put the stick in the center position there. When the stick's in the center position, altitude hold is enabled. Okay, so the aircraft won't go any higher or won't go any lower than the position where it's at. And when you put it in this position here and hold down the takeoff button, the aircraft will go up about 1.5 to 2 meters and then hold its position. If you want to go higher, you give it a little more stick or a little bit of more throttle until you reach the altitude that you want to stay at, and then you center the stick again and it will maintain that altitude. And then from that position, when you want to go into horizontal flight, you flick it on, this switched on to 6G mode, and the aircraft will tilt forward and start flying at that altitude and maintain that altitude as long as that stick is centered, the throttle stick. And then you can fly it around using roll and yaw to turn it. Okay, you can switch between stick modes, mode 1 and mode 2, but you can also select one already set up for you in mode 1 or mode 2. I recommend doing that when you purchase this. Specify whether you want mode 1 or mode 2. And finally, if you don't have an SD card inserted into the aircraft, you can record, or if you do have an SD card inserted in the aircraft, you can start the recording either via the app. There's a button on the app, and I recommend doing that because it lets you know that you're recording. Or you can start it using this button here by holding it down for 2 seconds to start the video, or a quick press to start and stop photo, or to take a photo. But again, I recommend using the app because the app is very obvious that you're recording. It lights up and lets you know. If you don't have an SD card inserted into the quadcopter, you can record the video to your phone, but you need to use the app again and hit the recording on the phone. And finally, this quadcopter can be flown with the X520 app. I do not recommend that, particularly because the main reason being your phone, you don't know what the range of your phone is going to be in controlling this quadcopter. You can very easily fly out of range, in my opinion, using your phone, and then you're out of luck. You don't know what the airplane is going to do. It's going to shut down, I believe, and then land somewhere out in the desert or wherever you are flying. So I recommend, just for safety purposes, and use the transmitter that it comes with. Do not try to fly this airplane with the app. It's just is not safe, in my opinion. You know, Quadcopter 101 opinion. Okay, let's go for a flight of this thing. We're going to bind it to the Wi-Fi, the 5G Wi-Fi to my phone, and then we'll open up the XK-X520 app and see how it performs. So hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, this is the XK-X520 app, and you can see me there. How do you like my shirt today, folks? Disneyland, huh? Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, though, there is a difference, but something been added to this than the basic model. Is you get this nice bright blue LED light to let you know the status, the binding status and the gyro status. The basic version, which I put away already, did not have that blue light. It had a little red light, and it was really hard to see, and it was internal, and you had to look through the grating. I like that they added on that light. Okay, looking at the app, what do we got here? We got automatic takeoff, vertical mode, horizontal mode. We're not going to control it with this app today. So, looking at that, we're not going to use these features on the left-hand side because I'm just not going to fly it with an app. Fly an airplane with an app, that's not safe, in my opinion. But we can control the camera features on the right. We can take single snap, snap, multiple, delay. Those are the 3 camera settings that we got. And the big white circle was taking a photo. Again, here, how do you like my shirt today, folks? Get a smile. And the video camera is starting and stopping the video. And finally, the selection on the bottom, showing a picture there, takes you to the files where you stored. Let's look on there. remote SD card is not showing any of the recorded photos. Before we do anything, I want to make sure that it is recording. So we're going to hit record on the camera, say hi, make sure it's recording, turning off the camera, and then going back into the files. And there, the video is there, and double checking that it will play. And there I am. So we know the camera is working. It does not seem to record the SD card, the photos, and that's kind of sad. I don't know why it didn't do that, but it didn't. So going back to the main menu. Now look at the top bar there. On the upper left corner, we have our Wi-Fi signal, our RSSI in effect. Right next to it is our battery power, and right next to that is our height. So we do have some simple telemetry. And instructions are that question mark. I'm not going to go into that. And we can also select G-sensor control. I'm not going to select that either. In headless mode, or no, that next gyroscope next to that is calibration. I already calibrated that at home before we took off. And you can also select VR mode, like such, so that you can use goggles while flying. I would not use goggles while flying this. Let's go back to it. So we are more or less ready to go. Okay, we are going to do our takeoff now. Before that, we're going to start the video. Video is recorded. Then we're going to set the throttle up halfway and make sure our switch is in V mode position, vertical. So we're going to do a automatic takeoff and holding the takeoff button like so, and holding it down for 2 seconds. And the aircraft maintains altitude like so. We're going to go up higher, a bit higher, and switch to 3D or 6G mode. There it goes. And let me look on the screen. You know, out here in the desert, it's hard to see this thing. It's hard to see the screen, but it should be recording. Let's go up and give it some altitude. Going up a bit higher. And cutting back on the throttle. Okay, we'll start off in flying around in 6G mode. Let's do a flight right over my head. Hello. Now flying it, even with 30 degrees forward, you are going to have a hard time flying this FPV. I'm telling you right now. Give it some altitude like such, because even with 30 degrees forward video, I'm looking mostly at ground, folks, mostly at ground, unfortunately. So with that in mind, let's see how this thing performs aerobatically. Let's go up a little bit higher and go to 3D mode. So I'm noticing I need a little more power than I normally do need with the basic version. Got a little trouble there. When you get in trouble, you can go back to 3D mode or 6G mode to take you out of it. That's the advantage of these stabilized airplanes. We'll go back up a bit higher again and try that again. Try loops, power loops, inverted flight, going up, victory roll, loops, and coming back down again. Cutting back on the throttle too. Now when you cut back on the throttle, there is some stabilization on this thing. I noticed that it tries to horizontal or set itself a little bit horizontal. It's similar to a what do you call it? Dihedral effect. Let's go back to 6G. So that's some flight around with the video. Let's go into vertical mode. See if I can land this thing with vertical. Actually, I need to go upwind. Wind's coming from this direction here toward the mountains. There we go, 6G. Coming down and then letting it down, letting it down. I want to turn it this way so I can fly like a helicopter. So let's go back up one again. We've got a lot of battery power left. So setting the sticks, okay. Setting the sticks at center position and selecting vertical mode and hitting automatic takeoff again. Now you can control this similar to a quadcopter. Actually almost exactly like a quadcopter. Forward, you can rotate with the yaw and hover it just like a quadcopter. Neat, huh? I hope I'm getting the sticks and the airplane in the picture at the same time. It's such a neat airplane. I really like the X520s. I've done so many videos on them, and I'm going to do more because I like this airplane so much. Okay, let's go a bit higher and then go to 3D or 6G. I am in 6G, right? Yeah, it's not letting me go any higher than that angle of attack. Neat, neat, neat airplane. And now with added camera capability. Showing the ground, I'm almost certain it's showing the ground. Let's go higher and go to 3D mode. We'll fly up high in 3D mode so I don't hit the ground because I still am a novice pilot when it comes to airplanes. Fly upside down a bit and go back to normal flight. Trying to keep it overhead. God, this thing's got so much power. So much power on this with those two motors. More than sufficient for this airplane. So, you know, if this airplane hasn't sold you yet, I'm surprised. Because it's a neat airplane. Just a neat airplane. Let's do a slow flyby. Switch into vertical. Again, flying it like a quadcopter. Come bring it down lower. You know, the advantage of having this vertical takeoff, you can fly this just about anywhere from your backyard. You can launch it. You don't need a big field, in effect, to launch it, if you don't mind flying over your neighbor's houses. Neat airplane, X520. Okay, give it a little right roll, left roll. See how it tilts? Left roll, right roll, and then yaw turns it using the ailerons. So, neat airplane. Going back up higher again, and going back to 6G mode. We're down to 42%, so I'm going to call it quits here soon. 42% battery power. But yeah, that's the other big advantage of the Wi-Fi FPV version is you finally have telemetry to know the battery power. Before you're guessing, you know, with the basic model, you're guessing what. Here, let's go up. Guessing how much battery power is remaining. Neat airplane. I like it. And again, let's go back to 6G. I recommend getting the X8 transmitter version. The X4, you know, it's a very basic transmitter, and you're just not, I don't think it has the range that this thing has. Okay, you're able to fly this thing with the X8 much further range than with the X4, so keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to call it quits here soon. Let me take it upwind. Which way is the wind? Over there. And go into vertical mode. Let the wind blow it back toward me. Bring it down lower. Bring it over toward me. Again, I'm flying it like a quadcopter. And lowering it, lowering it. See if I can get it on the pad. Can I get it on the pad? One thing I recommend, you know, if it looks like an unstable landing, it's going to be an unstable landing, pitch forward to land it on its belly right at the last second. I'll show you that. Let's do an automatic takeoff. Okay, let's do that landing again. This time we're going to pitch it forward right at the landing and show you why. Coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down, pitching forward. That's why. Much more stable landing, you know. The bad thing is if you do a vertical landing and pitch backwards, you're going to have a hard time shutting it down. And I think there's to shut it down emergency, you have to hold this button down while holding that button down. Okay, emergency shutdown. You got to remember this is hold stick mode and photo button down at the same time, and that will shut down the motors. I forgot all about that when I did that silly landing there like that. Okay, and video is stopped. Oh, let me try this holding down the photo button. Okay, as you see, holding down the photo button starts and stops the video also. So I was right about that, especially when you got the SD card inserted. So I still got 46%. We're going to call it quits though, because I can only, you know, you guys are going to lose interest. But that's the XK X520 FPV version. We'll see how that video came out. I'll include it, of course, and I think it's still a neat airplane. So you got the basic version with no video. This version with video, you'll see if it's worth it or not. But again, I always recommend getting the X8 transmitter no matter what version you get. So hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101. Let's hold it up for a thumbnail. Quadcopter 101, signing out.